People say that what you should fear are the things that you see rather than what can't be seen. That means it's the living you should be worried about rather than supernatural things like ghosts and demons, dark magic, and bad luck. After all, we all know that paranormal activity is only a figment of our imagination. But what happens when it's coincidentally caught on tape? Should you be scared by that? Should you reevaluate your thought processes and open your mind to the transcendent dimensions? Ironically, you're in luck, because in this video, we're showing you some of the creepiest moments caught on tape. While we take you on the journey down the rabbit hole and into the Twilight Zone, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Ring that notification bell, then share this haunting video. This is Tenzone. Going to the playground. There are few things in the world creepier than an abandoned playground. It gives off the same feeling of going to an empty classroom, unsure if it's truly empty or not. That uncertainty, however, wasn't a luxury the Denton family was afforded in June 2016 when the family decided to go out into the playground, but their 3 kids refused to leave the car. It was only when the father, Scott, looked up that he saw what his children had been so terrified about. In the seemingly abandoned playground, a single swing moved back and forth violently with no passenger. Scott claims that there weren't any strong winds at the time, and the fact that the other swings didn't move nearly as powerful definitely strengthened his evidence. Of course, there are skeptics of this video like any local ghost story, perhaps to protect their peace of mind, but it's up to you to decide whether you believe it or not. Hit and run. The only thing worse than seeing a car on the verge of smashing into you is not seeing the car that's about to smash into you. It was May 2017, and it was a beautiful day for a walk. And that's exactly what the victim of this story was doing, as the young woman was walking inconspicuously along the sidewalk of a bridge. A jogger comes up to her and pushes her into the road directly in front of an approaching bus. Thankfully, the bus was able to come to a stop before hitting the woman, and some people from inside the vehicle were kind enough to help. But the mysterious jogger was nowhere to be found. The creepy thing was that the woman didn't even know the man, much less why he'd push her into traffic. Was he simply a homicidal maniac that gave into his urges? Perhaps something more premeditated and sinister? We'll never know, since search parties never found anything and the case was considered closed because the woman didn't pursue the issue any further. A hairy encounter. Bigfoot sightings have been a dime a dozen ever since the first recorded sighting on film in 1967. And it's true that there have been so many sightings that have been proven to be hoaxes done for fame. At some point, it became less about finding a real Bigfoot sighting and more of how to determine whether a particular video is authentic. So when the sighting of a GoPro camera mounted on a dog began getting attention in 2015, it came under scrutiny immediately. And that's not to say the video itself isn't unsettling though, since the creature was spotted near enough that it couldn't be a random animal like a bear or gorilla, but unclear enough that it could have been a man in a fursuit like so many before it. Since its initial upload, the video has been uploaded multiple times and came under the eye of millions, dividing them between believers and non-believers, with the latter claiming that the dog should have at least reacted a little upon seeing the entity, and that led them to say that it was just the dog's owner in a fursuit looking for his 5 minutes of fame. The only question is, are you a skeptic or a believer? Something to watch over. Much like the Bigfoot, UFO sightings have been abundant since the dawn of the camera. Probably even more so than any mythical creature to date. In January 2016, a video was uploaded onto YouTube of a man practicing on a snowboard, trying to make it down a slope with his camera pointed up at him. The video seemed relatively normal until people began to take notice of a strange elongated figure floating in the background. At first, people thought it was a scratch or some dirt on the lens, but that was quickly disproven when the figure disappears behind him as he moves. The object clearly wasn't any conventional flying machine if it could hover like that, so it was quickly picked up by UFO societies as proof of the existence of aliens. What's more unsettling is how the figure seems to hover motionlessly above him, as if watching over the mountain, as if it were watching over him. The black-eyed girl. In the countryside of Cannock Chase in Staffordshire, England, there exists the legend of the apparition haunting the woodland forests. Dubbed the Black-Eyed Girl because of its cold, piercing black eyes when it was first spotted in the 80s. It roamed the area for seemingly no reason, but still took the entire world by storm. Fast forward a few years later, and the legend of the girl was all but forgotten until a video of a drone flying over Cannock Chase was uploaded to YouTube by a user named Furious Otter. At first, the drone could be seen flying directly above the trees until it spotted a strange white figure, after which it descended to get a clearer view, and what it saw was unsettling to say the least. It was an unusually tall figure with long black hair in a white dress. much like what the black-eyed girl had worn all those years before. People were of course quick to dismiss this as a hoax, since the drone just happened to spot the girl and approach her, without even so much as a reaction from her, was highly suspicious. The unseen threat. This one's going to be quite the story to keep your lights on and make sure your back is against the wall. In almost every culture in the world, it's believed that children and the elderly have a higher affinity for the supernatural, given how close they are to life and death. What makes children even more convincing is that unlike grown-ups, they don't lie when they're truly happy, sad, or even scared. In this video posted by YouTube user Angel Ruiz on October 30th, 2012, captures this sentiment perfectly. It starts off normally, with Angel and two young girls inside the dining room eating. Nothing too scary, right? Well, that's not until one of the children stops eating, looks into the unlit kitchen, and starts lightly crying in fear. Angel tries to calm her child down, but her cries get louder, with the other girl only laughing at her companion, shaking and crying in fear. The climax of the video begins when the other girl also takes a peek at the kitchen and stops laughing, instead screaming and crying more hysterically than the first child. This causes both of them to bawl and run to Angel, after which the video cuts. What was it that these children saw that scared them so much? An intruder or something much more sinister lurking in their own home? So what did you guys think? Have you seen creepier things on camera? Or maybe you have your own creepy moment? Don't hesitate to comment down below because we'd love to hear about it. And if you got it on camera, it might be featured in our next video about creepy moments caught on camera. As always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and slam that bell button to turn on notifications so you don't miss a single upload. See you brave folks next time.